Hey YouTube, I'm back with another deck profile video. Today we're going to be looking at Nubatamas. So, Nubatama, another highly requested clan. I posted them, I think, a couple months back. So I did change them a little bit. They're not all that different before, so they still haven't gotten a lot of their support that they need in terms of updates, but they're fairly good still as a fun deck. They're not. I won't really consider them competitive because they are kind of outdated. Although they have some really old cards that are still some of the best cards in the game. So we'll get into that. But yeah, in terms of the majority of the deck, it hasn't really changed all that much. I'm still running my two Shura Stealth Dragon Yozakura Kongo because he is from the original Virus Collection, 2014. He's kind of lousy. Like, I don't really like him, so I usually hope to use him as Stride Fodder and nothing else. Next, for Kuji Kiri Kongo. He's the Break Ride, and the Break Ride is still one of the best Vanguards they have. And then two, Shura Stealth Dragon Kabuki Kongo. I feel like this guy is probably the better Vanguard out of these two. Just from playtesting the deck long enough now, I feel like this guy is way better with the Break Ride than that guy. He's even really good standalone. Like, if you have to ride him first and use all the other stuff as Stride Fodder. So, I am running a 9th grade 3. And it is from the very first Vanguard set. Stealth Dragon Voidmaster. He's really scary. He has a Vanguard or Rear Guard effect. That's what I like about him. So it's kind of like running that random Diamantes type card in there, 9K grade 3. So yeah. If you don't want to use him as Stride Fodder. So 9 grade 3s. Grade 2s. Still only 4 of Bear. I call him Bear. Stealth Beast. Tamahagane. Basically the same guy from all the time. Every Nubatama deck you play against always runs forward this guy. When he's placed on VRR, choose one of your opponent's rear guards behind it face up. At the end of the turn, the opponent puts it in the hand. So bad thing about him is that, a good thing about him is that he can potentially get rid of that card, but I feel like it's kind of weird how Nubatama is able to retire stuff. They basically have to retire stuff from the banish zone, which is really not very consistent to say the least. But anyway, he could potentially get rid of an interceptor, because usually what he'll choose, or their starter or something, if you are hoping to be able to, if they're gonna no guard it, basically. But yeah, 4 of him because don't really have a lot of other stuff. And then 4 of the new guy that they got from Virus Collection. Whoops. Yeah. Stealth Rogue of Night Fog. Akito Maru. What he does is Vanguard or Rear Guard, so I really like that he's Vanguard or Rear Guard. So he's a really good turn 2 ride. When he hits, he can choose up to 1 card in the opponent's bind zone, put in the drop zone. So not too great, but combos very well with this guy. So 4 of each of them is kind of like a must-do in terms of what Nubatama has right now. And then the only other grade 2 is 3 Stealth Dragon Kokujio. He's their potential 11, 13, 15K. So anytime they get something bound, he gets 2K. So literally, like with this guy, that's why I feel like this is like their best Vanguard, and this guy's really kind of bad. So those wondering, the only reason why I'm running 2 of him instead of 4 of him is because I only have 2 of him. And I never bothered to get 2 more. So we'll see what Nubatama gets in the future. And I never got the Nubatama Legion either. So otherwise I'd probably use that. But it's okay not running the Legion. So this guy basically would get what, 2 times 5 if you bind all the rears. So yeah, he's 10, 19K with no boost, pretty good. 3 because his effect doesn't always happen much. It's only when they get stuff bound. So I feel like the other ones are better in the early game, and because this guy, because he has that pressure, and then this guy because he enables binding stuff. So yeah. For grade 1s, it's still 4 of the perfect guard that they have. 4 Stealth Dragon and Dreadmaster. So, like I was saying earlier at the beginning of the video, this card, like, they have some of the best cards from, like, way back in the day. This is also from BTO1, and this is the best booster, arguably, in the game. So what it does is when an attack hits, not hit a Vanguard, when an attack hits, it can hit a rear guard. When it hits, you can counterblast 1 if the number of cards in your hand is less than your opponent's. If you counterblast 1, your opponent chooses a card from his or her hand and discards it. So he is basically like a Spirit Reaper if your hand is smaller than your opponent's. So very scary card for decks like OTT, Great Nature, you know, all those decks that like to stack hand, even Shadow Paladins. So really good. And then 4 Tempest Stealth Rogue Fuki. He has a main phase effect of counterblast 1, put him in the soul. If you have a Nubatama Vanguard and the number of cards in your opponent's hand is 3 or less. So basically he's the opposite of that guy. It's when your opponent has low hand, you can do his effect. Choose a card at random from your opponent's hand, bind it face down at the end of the turn, your opponent. So what I like about him, he can randomly, like, hopefully, like, potentially snipe perfect cards out of the opponent's hand. So yeah, pretty good, but of course he does leave the field, so keep that in mind. It's kind of like an effect that you won't see all that often. In fact, I've actually thought of dropping him to 3 copies, so I can run 2 of this card, which is just the 8K vanilla. And the reason for that is because right now I'm only running 1 8K vanilla. But if I ran 2, I feel like this would be a better booster with this guy. Like if you bind 2 things, he gains 4, he's at 13 plus 8, that's 21 right there. So I feel like the 8K with this guy is pretty good. So I might actually bump this up to 2 and drop him down to 3. So let me know in the comments. For the trigger lineup, still the same trigger lineup. It's the rainbows, of course. It's the rainbows, because I am not going to go and get that promo card, that critical trigger that they have. I'm aware that they have a second critical, and it's a promo, and I don't have it. But for now, I'm still running the rainbows. And, of course, the Stealth Beast Kuroko, because she's, like, the best starter. So usually she goes behind the Vanguard. And your Dread stuff goes behind the rear guards. If she gets retired, then the Dread guy, you call another one down behind the Vanguard. And this guy will always go behind a rear guard. So, potentially this guy. Or, hopefully that guy. So, Nubatama, nothing really changed besides that one grade 2 that they got. For the stride units, I am running 2 of the new Stealth Blade Shura Stealth Dragon Hyakujirakan. This is some hardcore Japanese ancient ninja stuff. But anyway, GB2, so you only really need 2 of him. You can't use him as first stride. So if you have a heart with Shura Stealth Dragon and like all these guys except for this guy, which you're never going to ride him as Vanguard. If you do, you'll probably lose. But yeah, all those guys, all 8 of those guys are Shura Stealth Dragon. Choose a card at random from your opponent's hand, bind it face down, and then if the number of cards in your opponent's hand is 3 or less, bind all your opponent's rear guards face up at the end of the turn. So it kind of requires some pretty good timing with him. There are ways to manipulate the opponent. I'm trying to think if I look at this guy again. No, okay, well, he's... I don't really know why. I guess the reason why they made him GB2 is because in playtesting, like, usually in the early game, you and your opponent usually have a lower hand size. So I feel like this would probably be really, really good as a first stride. So I guess they restricted it to GB2 so that, yeah, I don't know. I feel like if he was first stride, he'd be really, really good. So anyway, he can only activate his effect as GB2, which means you kind of have to stride Blizza first. But yeah, the other stride units I have are Rikudo, Stealth Dragon, and he's whatever. When he hits, the opponent has a discard card from the hand. So he's your on hit. Usually you'll stride him, and then him again, and then this guy to try to close it out. But yeah. The other strides worth mentioning are Blizza, Atmos, and yeah, I guess more of this guy or that guy. So that's basically all I have for this deck right now. Nubatama is supposed to get some more support. I think it's a little bit like a month and a half from now. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the new Nubatama support, if they get it, or what you think about how this deck works right now. I can't really consider it competitive because it has a lot of like drawbacks right now. But anyway, guys, that was my updated Nubatama deck. Hope you enjoyed that video, and as always, stay tuned for more Cardfight Vanguard videos. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.